On 15 March 1986, it was a normal Saturday morning in Little India. At the junction of Serangoon Road and Owen Road stands a six-storey building. On the ground floor, customers are queuing at the bank. Upstairs, hotel guests are checking out. It's 11:25 a.m. And then, in less than 60 seconds, the entire building is gone. We are not talking about it being partially collapsed. Instead, the entire building just collapsed. According to the official Commission of Inquiry report, the whole building from ground level up gave way, falling into the ground and basement levels, with not even a single wall or column left standing. 33 people died, and it remains one of the deadliest disasters in Singapore's history. But here's the part that will haunt you. The building did not fall because of an earthquake, a bomb, or a gas explosion. It fell because of a mistake on a piece of paper that was made 15 years earlier. Here's what you need to know about the Hotel New World collapse and why. Because of it, the building you are sitting in right now is checked, double checked, and checked again. And why you have never had any fear of your floor collapsing today. So, for a start, let's look at the building. The Lian Yak Building was completed in 1971. It has 6 stories with a basement car park. But why do people call it the Hotel New World collapse? It's because in 1986, it housed 3 tenants. The 67-room Hotel New World on the upper floors, a branch of the industry and commercial bank on the ground floor, and a nightclub. Yes, this is why people call it the Hotel New World collapse, as the hotel is its main tenant. When the building came down at 11:35 a.m., around 50 people were trapped beneath the rubble. Staff, guests, bank customers, and passerbys. After all, it was a Saturday morning, so the bank was relatively crowded. According to the National Library Board's account, the first 2 Singapore Fire Service engines arrived just 8 minutes after the collapse, followed by the police. Within half an hour, Civil Defence regulars and volunteers, plus SAF medical personnel, were on site. By the afternoon, then First Deputy Prime Minister Tong and Home Affairs Minister Jayakumar were there to assess the situation. But there was a problem. Singapore had never faced anything like this. Personnel were neither trained nor equipped to deal with such a situation. So the authorities made a call that probably saved lives. They brought in tunneling experts from Britain, Ireland, and Japan, who happened to be in Singapore at that time building the MRT. Yes, somehow, the people digging those tunnels became the people tunneling through concrete and steel to reach survivors. The operation lasted 4 days, and when it ended, 17 survivors had been pulled out alive. 33 bodies were recovered. So, what caused the collapse? Here's where the story gets disturbing. The building had been showing signs for years. Witnesses described cracks appearing in the building's walls as far back as in the 1970s. And here's the thing on the day before the collapse. A large crack opened out on the pillar at the nightclub and the mirror mounted on the column reportedly cracked on its own. The response? The column were propped up with timber. Yeah, people put wooden planks to hold up a 6-storey concrete building. President Wee Kim Wee then appointed a commission of inquiry. The final report came out in February 1987, and its findings were almost unbelievable. Like, seriously. The collapse was caused by the building's poor structural design and sloppy construction. The actual construction also deviated from the architectural drawings, making a bad design even worse. How bad was the design? The structural calculations had accounted for the live load. You know, like the people, the furniture, and the stuff inside the building. But the dead load, the weight of the building itself, the concrete, the walls, the floors, had been left out. I don't want to sound like Captain Obvious, but it's almost like the people was doing the calculations while totally drunk. The building was never strong enough to carry its own weight. Then humans made it worse. Over the years, more weight was added, including, according to the inquiry report, a water tank on the roof weighing about 21.8 tons. That's roughly the weight of 15 cars, which is part on the roof of a building that could not even support itself. It's almost like people there thought that physics worked differently there lah. And so, for 15 years, the overstressed column silently developed cracks. On 15 March 1986, one column finally gave way, and the rest followed in seconds, leading to the collapse. While that is bad news, it also led to important changes that made buildings much safer. If you are looking to advertise your business in this channel, we can help you. There are guaranteed views and many big brands have trusted us. Just click on the link in the description. The inquiry made some recommendations, which included more irregular spot checks at construction sites and changing the law to force building owners to conduct regular maintenance checks. The government went further. The Building Control Act was overhauled in 1989, introducing what's called the Accredited Checker System, today administered by the Building and Construction Authority. Basically, every significant structural design must now be independently checked by a separate senior qualified engineer who had nothing to do with the original design. It's basically a second pair of eyes by law. So forget the dead load mistakes can never quietly slip through again. Buildings also now undergo mandatory periodic structural inspections under BCA every 5 years for non-resident buildings and every 10 years for residential ones. If you're a homeowner or work in an office, you will also know that engineers often come to your unit to do checks. It's a little frustrating, but now you know its purpose. And the rescue site changed too, because rescuers in 1986 were untrained and under-equipped for a collapse. The government merged the Singapore Fire Service into the SCDF on 15 April 1989, creating the unified rescue force we know today. Yup, this is why firefighting and rescue were unified under today's SCDF. A crisis can sometimes lead to meaningful changes, but do you know that we can now walk home safely at 2 AM because of another crisis that led to meaningful changes? Watch this and you will understand. Also, if you want to advertise with us, even as a standalone video, do contact us. Our website is in the description, or you can scan this QR code. Thank you for spending almost 6 minutes with me. I really appreciate it and hope you learned something.